What is up, YouTube? It's your man, that dude, bringing you guys another video. So I think the last video I made about Plunderer was 3 or so episodes ago, so there are a few things I had to correct from my previous video. And one of those things is, in my last video I said that Alcea is a post-apocalyptic world, basically built from the ashes where society started over new after a huge war. Turns out that's not the case. Alcea is actually a continent floating above Earth. And I guess lending to the title of the show, Plunderer, all the resources that Alcea has is actually taken from Earth. So all the food and water, I guess, because they say resources. So I'm assuming that means food, water, fuel, all that kind of stuff is just taken from Earth, which Sheldon did after he got all the ballots. Which I wonder why with the ballots you couldn't just create. If you can create a whole other continent that floats above Earth, you would think you'd be able to just create more resources on Earth instead of having to go through all the trouble of creating Alcea. Quick side note, I had to reshoot this video because in the first one I made, I kept calling the floating continent Alicia from the movie. I don't know how I got that mixed up, but it is Alcea or Althea, depending on what you see online. I saw both. So Althea or Alcea, but enough of that. A few things that happened in the past couple episodes I thought was really cool is we get to see Jail meet the guy who eventually, in the future timeline on Alcea, the guy who adopts and raises him and puts him into the military. So that was a cool storyline to get to see. To get to see Jail try to bond with this guy while he's in the past. I thought that was unique and kind of cute to see. We get to see how Lit interacts with all of his schoolmates and all of his friends. He's the class clown kind of guy, getting really laissez-faire, doesn't care about school, and he doesn't really take the military academy seriously until he realizes that to keep his friends safe and to keep his adopted brother safe, and to keep them from having to really commit the atrocities of war that just come with any kind of war, that he's going to join and take the academy seriously, so he can kind of lead them into being a military unit that doesn't actually kill. Which sounds silly on its face, and it is silly. Why are you an army that doesn't kill? But whatever. So in the show, that's their goal while he's at the military academy: create an army that doesn't kill. So they go through all these training drills and everything, and everything they do is centered around them not having to kill. I thought an interesting development with Sheldon is I thought the show was building Sheldon up to be a villain, which I guess he still kind of could be because of some of the developments. But when in the flashbacks, well, not really a flashback, but in the travel back in time as part of the show, we get to see Sheldon as somebody who really cares for the people at the academy. He actually cares about them. He wants what's best for them. He doesn't want them to have to kill people. He's actively trying to protect them. It's just that the circumstances of the situation he's in, with all the other armies converging on them, the war that's about to break out, the famine, lack of food, everything is kind of pushing him to put these kids in harm's way and push them in combat. So he becomes a bit more three-dimensional than I would have thought his character would be. We haven't seen much of Sheldon to this point, so that was kind of cool to get to see a glimpse of his character and what his character might be. I have to point out one stupidly ridiculous scene, and that was when back up, Lit, to keep all of his friends from having to kill, Lick takes it upon himself to just, every battle they go into, or he goes into, because he goes alone most of the time, he just kills everyone himself so his classmates don't have to suffer the burden of having taken other humans' life. So Lick does all the killing. After the first time he kills people, he comes back to the group. He has blood on his face. His friends are kind of afraid of him because he just killed people, so he runs away because he doesn't want to show them that he's breaking down over what he just had to do. And Hina, being worried about Lick, runs. She sees him crying, throwing up. He's really having a hard time grasping what he just did. And instead of going over and giving him a hug or saying, "Hey, I'm here for you," or basically any other thing besides what she did, she decided to undress and show some boob, and maybe some boob would cheer him up. Which, I guess to the show's credit, if I'm in a bad mood, boob probably gonna make me feel better, but not if I just kill people. Probably wouldn't work. And fast forward when they go back to the future. So once she's being transported back to the future, she tells Lick, I want to have your babies. I'll see you 300 years in the future. We can continue this. After she walks up and puts his hand on her breast, So fast forward, she's back in the future. She walks up the lick, undresses again, and the first thing she says to the man, not, hey, you know, how the last 300 years I'm treating you, anything I can do for you, you want to talk. She addresses and says, you want to pick up where we left off 300 years ago. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't meant for comedic effect, but I thought that scene was just freaking hilarious. It's just so utterly ridiculous. Like who would in that moment think to console somebody in that way? It just doesn't make sense. Like why would your mind go to that aspect? Like, hey, he's really dealing with some deep traumatic stuff. I should go have sex with him. Like that doesn't make sense. So I just had to point that out, how utterly ridiculous that scene is. But besides that, once they get back to the future, we don't really get a lot of development in the story. We get to see, you do get to see once Hina attempts to convince the lick to have sex with her, he, denies her advances because he's like 300 something years old, and I think she's between 15 and 18, somewhere in that range. And so he sees more as a child. And it's just more like a slice of life kind of stuff from there. It's them doing about the drinking. We get the scene of them at the beach. It's like some bikini shots, and it's a lot of stuff that doesn't actually advance the story. We do get to see like a weird love triangle thing. I don't know if they're hinting at that, but like we know that Nana loves Lick based on what she said in the past. In the video, she leaves that she loves Lick, wants to marry Lick. We know that Hina loves Lick, wants to marry Lick. They've hinted that Lick has feelings for Hina, but now they're also hinting that Lick might also have feelings for Nana, and they're also hinting that Jail has feelings for Nana, and Nana has feelings for Jail. So it's like a four-way love square, I guess, going on here. I don't know how they're going to work this out. I don't know what direction they're going to go in with the romance in this show. So that's going to be cool to see how that kind of develops. Again, Plunderer is not a great show. It's a decent show for what it is for this season that's kind of bare right now. It's just a decent show. But I think if you love action, adventure, somewhat slice of life anime, you'll enjoy it for what it is. It's nothing special, but it's something to pass the time. So again, watch it. If you don't watch it, I prefer you watch it and then come watch my videos and then go back and forth. But if you don't watch it, you're not really missing out. It's just an anime to pass the time. It's decent. It'll do the job. So that's all I have for you right now, guys. I'll talk to you next time.